Hey everyone, this is Dalen here, founder and general manager at CuriousCore. We've helped over 100 people make a career transition into the UX discipline. And today we'll be covering 5 common mistakes that people make when doing a career transition. So the first common mistake that people make when doing a career transition is to have the same strategy as everyone else. And what that usually entails is that they send their CV and portfolio to different companies, and they do it without much thought or without a personalized message to these companies. And this is why it's a bad strategy, because everyone else is doing it. And if you do not have the relevant experience or portfolio that stands out from the crowd, your CV and portfolio will actually end up in the bin, most likely. And the second mistake that people usually make is that they assume that a career in tech is just like applying to any job, where they go through several rounds of interview and that's the end of the day. However, the fact of the matter is that when you're going through an interview for a user experience designer role or product management role, you'll likely have a take-home exercise at some point during the interview. This could be usually at a very early stage or in the middle stage of the interview, and that is actually a challenge because if you have never been through the process of doing a design challenge or a product challenge, that is actually going to stumble you in this case. The next mistake that most people make is that they try to remove their past work experience and skills in their profile. So as a mid-career professional, you come with rich experience, rich skills that you should include in your profile. If not, your profile appears like a fresh graduate, which is not what you want to reflect to your potential employer. So the question is, how do you best weave it in, right? Is an accounting degree or some teaching experience, is it actually relevant for a UX designer? And the answer is yes. An accounting degree is useful if you're applying for a job in the financial services industry. Some teaching experience is also helpful if you're applying to educational companies or companies that are trying to transform their organization and are doing work related to education. So you do need the help and the guidance of a coach to actually be able to see what skills and what work experience is transferable to your new role. So the last common mistake that most people make when doing a career transition is not having a portfolio or having a portfolio that only has school projects. Because when you have a portfolio that only has school projects, it actually makes the employer doubt whether you have the sincerity to break into the industry. And if you do not even have a portfolio, don't even bother, because your employer might be thinking it's going to be such a big risk hiring this person, and if there's no portfolio to produce any evidence of the person's capability and ability to do the work that is required or needed, I would rather not take a risk, and I would rather invest in another candidate that has sincerity and that dedication of actually making that career transition. Here's a bonus tip, since you stayed this long in the video. If you appear to be open and inflexible, that's also a big taboo in making a career transition. What employers like is a candidate who's open and flexible to negotiation. So for example, if the employer is still hesitating in terms of hiring you, but you know that they have an interest in hiring you, one thing you can potentially do is to ask for a slightly lower salary for the first 3 months. And what this does is that it takes the financial risk and burden away from the employer and it shows your willingness to actually share some of that risk with your employer and shows your commitment towards investing in the company as well. So consider these mistakes when you are trying to make a career transition or apply for a job, and if you happen to be making them, not to worry, it's pretty easy to correct them. If you found today's content to be helpful, feel free to share them with your friends. And if you'd like to experience more of such content to help you with your career transition, feel free to click on the link in the description below. This is Dalen, and I shall see you very soon.